Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. In this session, we will be discussing from the 16th verse of the 8th chapter of 1st canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Ma mamstha hyetad ashcharyam sarvascharya achyute ya idam mayaya devya srijati avati hanti ajaha. The meaning of this verse is, O Brahmanas. This is Suta Goswami addressing the sages of Naimisharanya. O Brahmanas, do not think this to be especially wonderful in the activities of the mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. Ashcharyamaya, that is, the Lord who is all mysterious, and Achyuta, the infallible. The Lord is described in so many ways according to his different characteristics or qualities which are very unique to the Supreme Lord only. Here, Ashcharya Maya and Achyuta, two different qualities of the Supreme Lord are described. The mysterious and infallible personality of Godhead. By his own transcendental energy, he maintains and annihilates all material things, although he himself is unborn. Ajaha, he is unborn. That means he always exists as the Supreme Lord eternally, and by his transcendental energy, he maintains, he annihilates. He also creates. Srijati, Avati, Hanti. He creates, he maintains, he destroys. And this creation, maintenance and destruction happens only in the material world. There is no creation or destruction or maintenance required in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, everything is eternally a fact. There is no deterioration, there is no influence of some illusory energy, nothing of that kind. Now in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the activities of the Lord are always inconceivable to the tiny brain of the living entities. Achintya. This we should always remember. When we try to understand anything about the Lord, the only source for correct understanding is the scriptures, the authorized Vedic literature. And secondly, even after we study the Vedic literature, which describes very, very clearly and very accurately, still the activities of the Lord are inconceivable to the tiny brain of the living entities. We have got intelligence, we have got a tiny brain, but that doesn't mean we can use our intelligence to completely understand everything about the activities of the Lord. And that is never possible. That is never possible. Why is it said like this? Because Srila Prabhupada says, nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord. Nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord. That's the meaning of the Supreme Lord being supreme. He can do anything and everything. So when we read about his pastimes, we may doubt whether Krishna can do this or Krishna can do that, whether a person can do something like this. Because we think that he is a person like us, or he is a person little more powerful than us. No. He is supremely powerful, he is unlimitedly powerful. He can never be compared with anybody else. He is incomparable. And he is absolute. He always is in that position of having the supreme power. Always. Eternally, it's a fact. So, therefore, this point, nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord, but all his actions are wonderful for us, and thus he is always beyond the range of our conceivable limits. This will be explained in a future verse, which is a series of prayers offered by Queen Kunti. That's the main subject of this chapter, prayers by Queen Kunti. But we're going to start discussing that from the next session, the prayers of Queen Kunti and the series of prayers, wonderful prayers. So these prayers expressed by self-realized pure devotees clearly helps us understand what is the nature of the Supreme Lord. So one of the things mentioned here is the Supreme Lord's actions are always beyond the range of our conceivable limits. The Lord is the all-powerful, all-perfect personality of Godhead. All-powerful, all-perfect. There is no trace of any defect or any inebriety in the Supreme Lord. The Lord is 100% perfect. Here the Lord referring to Krishna. Krishna is 100% perfect. Whereas others, namely Narayana, Brahma, Shiva, the demigods and all other living beings possess only different percentages of such perfection. This is analyzed by the Goswamis of Vrindavan, the disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that only Krishna is 100% perfect. Others are all expansions of Krishna or expansions of the expansions of Krishna, or very, very, very tiny parts of Krishna. And they possess always a percentage of the qualities of Krishna in perfection. No one is equal to or greater than Krishna. He is unrivaled. This is a fact. The 17th verse, Brahma Tejo Vinirmuktair Atmajai Saha Krishnaya Prayana Abhimukham Krishnam Idam Aha Prutha Sati. The translation of the 17th verse. Thus said from the radiation of the Brahmastra, Kunti, the chaste devotee of the Lord, Prutha Sati. Prutha means Kunti. Sati means the chaste devotee of the Lord, and her 5 sons and Draupadi. Atmajaihi Saha Krishnaya. Krishnaya refers to Draupadi. Draupadi is also called Krishna. So, along with Kunti, along with her 5 sons and Draupadi, addressed Lord Krishna, Idamaha, as he started for home. Prayana Abhimukham Krishnam. Krishna finished his work of installing Yudhishthira Maharaj after the battle of Kurukshetra as the emperor of the world. Now he was going back to Dwaraka. So while he was about to start for Dwaraka, Kunti approached Krishna and addressed him, and there will be a series of prayers Kunti will offer to Krishna. In the purport, it is explained by Srila Prabhupada, Kunti is described here in a sati or chaste due to her unalloyed devotion to Lord Sri Krishna. This term is used by Prabhupada many times in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, unalloyed devotion. Unalloyed means it is 100% pure. There is no admixture of karma or jnana in such bhakti. Pure devotional service is described by Srila Rupa Goswami as Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam. Jnana karmadi anavritam. It is unmixed with any jnana or karma. Because karma and jnana without bhakti is never successful. Any pious activity anybody may do, if it is not mixed with a little bhakti, it will always be incomplete, unsuccessful, imperfect. Same thing with transcendental knowledge. Unless that is mixed with a little bhakti, it is always imperfect, incomplete. So both karma and jnana are dependent on bhakti for a person to achieve perfection. But bhakti, which is pure bhakti, is independent of karma and jnana. Bhakti is never dependent on karma or jnana. Pure devotion is completely independent of everything else. So therefore, Kunti is described as the most chaste lady, Sati, and it is because she is the pure devotee of Krishna. Not only Kunti, the 5 Pandavas, Draupadi, Parikshit, all of them, Arjuna, everyone, they are all pure devotees of Krishna, 100% pure devotees. It is further said by Srila Prabhupada, her mind will now be expressed in the following prayers for Lord Krishna. Beginning from the 18th verse, prayers of Queen Kunti will be presented. A chaste devotee of the Lord does not look to others, namely any other living being or demigod, even for deliverance from danger. Typically in the material world, we have got different sources for protection, depending on the type of danger or depending on the type of problem we may face or depending on the type of facilities we may have. We have so many sources of protection. We may have so many different dangers. Material world is always filled with dangers. Padam padam yat vipadam. But for a pure devotee of Krishna, Krishna is the only protector. And Krishna is the only protector means such a devotee never depends on another living being or another demigod. Never. Never, 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 never. So this is very, very, very significant. Nobody else in the material world, other than a pure devotee, depends exclusively on Krishna. So this is what we should learn from the Bhagavatam and from the lives of great devotees and from Krishna's own instructions. We should learn this, that we have no guarantee of 100% protection except when we learn to completely depend on Krishna. So if at all you want full protection under all circumstances, you should learn to depend on Krishna exclusively. Not that Krishna is there and also so many other people are there to protect me. No. So Srila Prabhupada says here, that was all along the characteristic of the whole family of the Pandavas. It is not just true of Kunti. It's true of all the family members of the Pandavas, Pandava family. They knew nothing except Krishna, and therefore the Lord was also always ready to help them in all respects, in all circumstances. See, Krishna is always reciprocally giving protection or offering some help. If I depend completely on Krishna, then Krishna will protect me and help me always under all circumstances. But if I am not so much completely dependent on Krishna, then Krishna will say, depending on who you want to take protection from, you take protection from that source. And that is not guaranteed to protect us in all circumstances, other sources. So therefore, one should not look for imperfect help from imperfect living beings or from demigods, but one should look for all help from Krishna alone, who is competent always to save his devotees. So that's the conclusion. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.